Congratulations! Dean Austin Quigley and the members of the Committee on Admissions join me in the most rewarding part of this job, informing you that you have been selected for admission to Columbia College in its 254th academic year. As a member of the class of 20...
Every student yearns to read these words in their acceptance letter to Columbia and get excited to become part of the campus community.
We are fully confident that the gifts you bring to our campus will be unique and valuable, and that your abilities will be challenged and developed here. You and your family have every reason to be proud of the greatest achievements that we acknowledge today with this good news. We hope you will share your joy and excitement with the faculty at your school who have helped you reach this happy day.
Today is not just a celebration of LACU, but a celebration of the Latino presence on Columbia's campus.
That thrives on our combination of a demanding curriculum, a diverse and talented student body, and a college town abundant in dynamism and opportunities. We know that you will contribute to the academic and personal excellence that has been the hallmark of Columbia students since 1754. The coming years at Columbia promise to be lively and joyful ones, indeed, as we continue to celebrate over 250 years of achievement and distinction. It is our great
We are slowly growing in numbers. This year's incoming class has 15% Latinos, but it's taken several decades to build the community that exists today.
It was a smaller school because obviously we were not co-ed, and I would say the amount of diversity was quite small at that time. There were 500 guys in my graduating class, and it was a good group, tightly knit, but as I said, we were not co-ed, we were not totally diverse. We still had the core, we had a fantastic faculty, but I believe the one thing were missing was the diversity angle.
Although the numbers of Latinos were small on the campus decades ago, students then fought emotional and cultural isolation and began to bond.
The reality is that there were very few of us. Very, very, very few of us. I mean, there were like, you know, I mean, don't quote me on the numbers, but it was probably less than 50, or at least certainly in terms of the Chicano caucus. So we didn't have a presence, a huge presence on the campus. What did that do? That made us actually depend on each other even more so. You know, it was a place where you actually could kind of come and, you know, soltarte el pelo, you know, and you could just kind of be a little bit more of who you were, and people got your jokes, you know, people got the way that you danced, people got the way that you like to eat, there was an understanding there.
Today, that bond is still the key to our students' successes.
Being a Latina for me on Columbia's campus is a little difficult. I come from a city that has a large Mexican-American population, and so to come to Columbia was a bit of a culture shock at first. But at the same time, if you get involved in certain groups, you can find the Latino community here. Chicano Caucus has become my support group. When I first came here, I felt lost, and they were the first group to reach out to me. And they've become my friends, essentially. I hang out with them, I go to parties, we do events together. They're my family here in New York.
That sense of family extends into our personal lives when we leave the campus.
People that I have stayed in touch with on a regular, consistent basis actually meet on an ongoing basis, and we have reunions at people's houses. We've been to family gatherings at our respective occasions, graduations, weddings, events for the children, and so forth. So we've maintained a community outside of Columbia since Columbia days.
The 90s marked a moment of transition at Columbia. Latinos found their voice.
I will say that as students of color, absolutely, I would say that we were definitely student leaders on campus. We were student leaders at our school. So you kind of brought us onto this campus. I think a lot of us felt lucky to be there. We felt proud to be there, but we also felt it pertinent that people know that we were there because we belong there. And a lot of that comes through visibility, and we knew that. So we were actively involved, you know, I mean, we threw the best parties, that's for sure. We spent a lot of time investing in our professors, I think that a lot of us hold and still hold dear, you know, really nice relationships with a few professors who made a big difference in our lives. So we were definitely visible, and it was a goal, it was an aim, and it was accomplished.
I really attended a time where people really began to get really united. People went to the same parties. You had, you know, and it was really kind of beautiful to see. You had Chicanos going to Acción Boricua meetings. You had Dominicans going to, you know, the regular Latin American, you know, students meetings. You had that kind of the beginning of the formation of the different fraternities and sororities there, and the kind of the energy and excitement that was bringing. And so it was a unique time, and that people looked at the past and said, no, we want to kind of graduate here with some sort of sense of community. And it was also in that time that we also began to realize that that we hoped that as alumni we would continue to carry on that kind of sense of linkage.
And just as the students found their voice, the administration recognized that the alumni also needed to be heard.
The Latino Alumni Association of Columbia University, which was founded in 2000. And it was a result of a culmination of ideas and people's desires and needs in the community. So there was a critical mass of Latino alumni and a critical mass of Latino students. And there was no connection between the alumni and each other, the different generations of alumni, the different cities that alumni or Latino alumni were in, as well as, you know, the Columbia College and Columbia and C's communities. And we wanted to establish different programs, so mentoring and networking and social events to allow alumni to really come back to the school and feel connected.
The inauguration of LACU was marked with the creation of its annual event, El Regreso.
With the support of Dean Austin Quigley, we were given a modest amount of money to host a Latino alumni reception on campus. We decided to name our event El Regreso, or The Return in English, as we wanted just that, our Latino alumni to return back to campus and feel welcomed by Columbia. After much planning, in March of 2000, we held our first El Regreso. To the surprise of many, more than 100 alumni, students, administrators, and guests gathered in Lowe Library to officially inaugurate LACU. It was an amazing turnout. It was the largest attendance of a Latino alumni on campus. In fact, many of our attendees traveled from various states, even overseas. Also, we had a few who stated that it was the first time back on campus since they graduated many years ago. Our success was a testament that a strong Latino Alumni Association was vital to sustain the connection between alumni, the students, and the university. We created an organization to act as a unified voice to foster a sentiment of regard and support among our diverse Latino alumni community, and assist Columbia University in developing key opportunities to maintain a lifelong affinity with our Latino alumni community.
Latinos on campus today are facing many of the same challenges. Unlike before, the Familia of LACU are working to meet those challenges.
I think the way that I think about the goals for LACU, I think of three goals. One of them is obviously to continue to strengthen our community. I think another goal is sort of creating more of a presence on campus among students, obviously, but I think also among administration, so that when a Latino issue comes up or when there's a question, that they would see us as a resource for them. And then a third goal, I think, has been and will continue to be fundraising. We've been really successful with our scholarship efforts and creating current youth scholarships for students in college and C's over the past couple of years. But our new initiative is actually to endow the scholarship, to create an endowment so the scholarship sort of continues in perpetuity, and then we can use our fundraising efforts for other initiatives that are going on campus. So I think that's our big work in the couple of years ahead, thinking about, you know, fundraising, and it actually, it's a different kind of fundraising that we've been doing, and I think one of the challenges that we've been facing is that because we're a community of color, because we're a non-traditional community by university standards, it's been a challenge to understand different ways of reaching out and raising money among us. So, that's something that we're learning as we're going, but the hope is that in 5 years we'll endow our scholarship and then be able to move on to either endowing another scholarship in C's or another school, or again, moving on just to other initiatives that are of interest to us.
As we begin our 10th year, alumni are beginning to feel our presence within the community.
When you're one of us who are like the beginning, the few who are just starting, you don't have that whole institutional background that you can turn to. We can turn to each other. We can turn to our friends who have made it, who can help us figure it out. That's the importance of LACU, because now more than ever, we need those friends and we need to stay in touch. So thank you, LACU, for all that you do.